everyone. Welcome to the Chasing Meet Cutes podcast. I'm your host, Nicole.
And I'm your host, Trisha.
Welcome.
Sorry, I'm finishing up a snack of a Chex Mix.
Delish.
I think that might be one of my top favorite snacks.
Okay, but do you like Gardettos or Chex Mix better?
Okay, I like Chex Mix for the full Chex Mix. But I like the Gardettos, like, pumpernickel chips. Like, just the brown bagel chips bag or whatever that is.
Yeah. I like Gardettos better overall.
I mean, it's very good.
Yeah, I like the spice or the flavor, whatever it is.
Yeah,
better.
It's comparable to the Chex Mix Bold.
Yeah.
But sometimes the Bold is too bold for Chex Mix. Like, it's too much. Like, the ratio in Gardettos is
there's some
point.
pieces in the Bold that are like...
Sometimes the Bold Chex Mix is just, like, too doused.
Yeah.
I noticed your hair's straight today.
It is. I blew it dry.
I don't normally see you with straight hair.
I almost never do. I just got a wild hair, guys.
Go for it.
And I don't do it because I can't stand it when it is straight.
Why?
I don't know. It just bothers me so much.
But is that so funny? Because, like, for probably, like, a decade straight, all we did was straighten hair.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Maybe that's why. We're just, like,
I've never liked
too much.
And not that I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way it feels.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't straighten my hair because it takes too long and I can never actually get it, like, that straight. So I'm just like, forget it.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, I have an icebreaker question for us today. Okay, which TV couple's chemistry is so strong you refuse to believe they weren't dating in real life?
Oh.
Isn't that a good one? What TV couple's chemistry? So good, it felt like there's no way they're not dating in real life.
It's so hard because, like, obviously we know they're not, like, dating in real life in general, the people.
Okay. Like, do you have a specific people you're talking about in mind, or you're just saying generally speaking?
Generally speaking.
Although, like, sometimes, like, couples were dating in real life, like the old Outer Banks.
Okay, yeah, but I don't know. Not them.
But, like, I mean, there's been, like, other couples that, like, maybe they met on screen and then they, like, Channing Tatum and Jenna Dewan Tatum. Like, post Step Up, they got together. Miley Cyrus, like, obviously both of those couples I just named didn't work out, and most of everybody that I can think of that were dating didn't last.
Gosh, I'm gonna say my first reaction was Nick and Jess.
Ooh, yes,
that's my first, like, gut reaction.
Or even Schmidt and Cece.
That was gonna be my second one
because they seem like it's hard because with a cast like that, who their characters are so similar to, like, their real personalities that we see, it makes it that much more believable that they could be a good match in real life. Ooh, I support those. That would be a good one. I'm just thinking, like, TV couples. Oh, man. I don't know. I feel like I'm constantly talking about them, and we know they're not together.
I know who you're gonna say.
Who?
From Nobody Wants This.
Yes, because
it's true. It's true.
It just seems so real. Like, that's how talented they are. I don't know. It just looked so believable. Anyway.
Yeah, but in them, like, we obviously know they're not together in real life.
Right.
So, that's a good one, though.
It was a good one.
Let us know who you guys think.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be some more that... I feel like we've even commented about that. Like, they could be together in real life. Or, like, they should be together in real life. I feel like we've recently said that.
Yeah, we do say that a lot.
Maybe some, like, Yellowstone people.
Maybe.
Like Alex Beth and Rip, for 100%. Sure. But also, like, Brandon Sklenar and whoever plays Alex's character on 1923, like, they also could be together in real life. And maybe they should be. I don't know if they have their people, but, like...
Maybe they should be.
But nonetheless, I did also think of Jane the Virgin. Oh my gosh, what's her name? Gina Rodriguez and
Justin
Baldoni.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they did kind of like briefly date, like, but not. I don't think it lasted,
Not,
and
like,
they're just like
seriously.
super good friends.
Yeah.
But they're ones that you're just like,
yeah,
oh crap! If you have the option to date in real life, like you guys should,
you should.
because it's there. But
Yes.
anyways, moving on to what we're gonna be talking about today.
Yeah. What is it?
We're talking about The Summer I Turned Pretty. This is Jenny Han week, guys. So we're going to start with The Summer I Turned Pretty and move on to the To All the Boys series of movies. But today we're talking TSITP. So I'm going to give... She's not a true fan,
Wow.
you guys. Anyways, I'm going to read a brief summary and then we'll get into it. So... This Summer I Turned Pretty follows Belly Conklin as she navigates love, friendship, and self-discovery during her summers at Cousins Beach with the Fisher family. What begins as a love triangle between Belly and the Fisher brothers, Conrad and Jeremiah, deepens as she grapples with shifting emotions, heartbreak, and the weight of growing up. As family tragedies and personal choices reshape their lives, Belly must decide who she is and who she truly wants by her side.
Yeah.
Belly.
Yeah, so I had never seen this series.
Nor read the books
Nor
or
read
anything.
the
Like you just went in,
books.
you were going in blind.
I went in totally blind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went in the opposite. I had read the book series, already seen this TV series. So I was just like excited for her to watch it because I love it. But I always get nervous about things like that because while we have very similar tastes in movies, TV shows, we can also like
really not.
Yeah,
like
we can sometimes
thing.
like I will like love something and you're like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Or you'll be frustrated by like the fictional aspects of it where you're like, this isn't real.
This is one of those.
I know. I could gather that as we watch, guys.
Yeah.
But also, if you were to read the books, I think you would have just like fallen in love with the characters that like when you see them on screen, you just kind of you make room for it in your heart to be like, okay. But I will say, I think the reasons that you're frustrated or you don't like it with, I agree.
Yeah.
I just love the story component of it so much that I'm just like,
yeah, forget that stuff.
I don't care.
The story is good for sure, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we need to talk through season 1 a little bit. Obviously separate from season 2, obviously, but mostly because season 2 does a lot of the flashbacks between like Savannah hasn't died yet and then clips of after she's died and then real life, or I mean in real time, and then I said Savannah.
It's okay.
Savannah was the character in the other movie we were just watching that not that long ago in Dear John.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, as I'm like, I'm a fan.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Anyways,
just give me your first thoughts from season 1, like generally speaking.
Okay. Well, I feel like it's definitely like the young high school romance. Obviously, that doesn't really need to be said, but like I feel like a lot of their summer vacations to the cousin's house, the beach house, are like over romanticized a little bit. Like some of the moments are like, you know, as like high schoolers do, in their brains, over romanticize things a little bit. And of course, like Belly was like a sophomore or something in season 1, so like she's young, still kind of like figuring
she doesn't have
out
her driver's license yet, so she's got to be like 15.
Yeah, and like she's obviously had these crushes but never really reciprocated, I guess, or like that's obviously the whole thing. Like, oh, suddenly I'm pretty. Like this summer I turned pretty.
Like she kind of went through puberty. Over that school year, shows up, and the boys are like, "Oh,
giving her a little more
you're
attention.
Not like a kid anymore."
Yeah. So I think she's like figuring out how to navigate that type of attention, and also not having had it before. It's like just completely new territory.
Yeah. So Belly has had this like very long-standing crush on Conrad specifically, and has been more of like best friends with Jeremiah. Yeah. Never really thought of Jeremiah in that way because they were just besties. And she never felt intimidated by him or like, you know, nervous around him like she did with Conrad. She was just totally like googly eyes, or not googly eyes, not googly eyes, but what's the like, I don't know. Like she was just like goo goo gaga for Conrad. Like just mouth drop, like I'm in love with this guy.
Well, and he's like the older brother.
Right.
And like, of course they've grown up together. So there's like that component of them like being like brothers, or maybe that's how they saw themselves to her before. And I guess because Jeremiah is like a little closer to her age, like maybe that's why they were like more so besties than
Yeah, that makes sense.
Her and Conrad.
Right. So I think just to kind of move through season 1 with a timeline, like as the movie progressed, and talk about the moments, because Belly is kind of all over the place in season 1 with her emotions. So to talk about the on-screen romance, I think you do kind of have to start at the beginning when she's coming into her own and coming into her body, and even like how she wants to dress. Like we see her reference that her best friend Taylor like sent her like some outfits or a couple clothes, because like she's still wearing a one-piece bathing suit and still like being a little bit more modest and dressing like a younger you're dressing a younger body. You don't have boobs yet. You don't like, you're just I don't know, it's just a youthful thing. And I think I love that, especially about the book, because you could go into more specific detail, but I think that's such a true confusing time. And so a lot of the frustrations that I have with Belly throughout the movie is some of it, not all of it, some of it is just this natural coming into yourself, and you make mistakes and you say dumb things and you are selfish. And so anyways, we kind of see her be like, okay, I'm not just going to stay home with the moms every like I have every other summer. Like I want to go out and party with the boys and like their friends and meet other people. And so she goes to this party and ends up meeting Cam Cameron. And they click. Like they kind of like realize they have known each other or saw each other at like what's that thing? The project
I forget.
I'm not smart. I was never in it. It was like UN, like Project UN or something like that.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but they bonded over that. They kind of have very similar interests. They like to read, and he's like doing this study on whales this summer.
Like the whaling charter.
The whaling charter, which
I want to do that.
I would love to do that too.
I want to swim with the whales, guys.
We know. She's just ready for danger at any moment.
It's not
in the
dangerous.
Water. You just said that about swimming with sharks yesterday. You're like, oh, you can place you can swim with.
The whale sharks, though, you can swim with them at the Atlanta Zoo.
Okay.
Or the Atlanta Aquarium.
You should do that.
I want to.
Do it. I swam with sharks too when I was snorkeling, and then as soon as I realized someone was like, oh, there's a shark down there, I was like, I'm gonna head back to the boat. But anyway, Cam Cameron, they have a little connection. And I thought this scene of them at that party, like by the bonfire, was really sweet.
Yeah.
Just like an innocent, sweet, young romance. Yeah, like that's how it should be.
Totally.
Like they're both kind of awkward.
Yeah.
They don't know how,
and they
how
both
to say.
know it.
100%. They're like leaning into it.
Yeah.
A little bit. The only thing I thought was so silly and like weird was after that party and the boys are like Conrad, Jeremiah, and her brother are like, get in the car, let's go, we're going home. And he's like there and he kisses her like right there in front of the boys. There's like the windows are down, like they're just watching it and they're like,
yeah, that was.
I'm like, that is so uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. I would never want to do that.
Nope.
But what else do you have about Cameron? They had a date, right?
Yeah, because she had like the debutante ball tea or something like that, where he like asks for her number, right. I think. And they kind of go on their little date to the drive-in, which was cute.
I had that.
Yeah, I think the drive-in date was cute, simple,
very innocent.
Again.
Just like no them pressure. Holding hands was like,
oh,
we're holding hands,
big deal.
Yeah, which it is a big deal.
Yeah,
holding hands with somebody for the first time, that's a big deal.
Totally. But then I just have like their breakup. After
Conrad.
Yeah, Belly and Conrad
they crashed their date, and then that started a
thing. Yeah, and they like almost kiss or something like that.
Conrad?
Yeah,
there's some tension there. I think it's funny because at this point in the series too, Conrad knows that his mom Susanna is sick, but none of the other kids know that yet. Yeah. And so Conrad's just being very, I don't even know how to say it, like rough around the edges, like he's smoking weed, he's just like distant.
Yeah.
And yet he's still like has his eye on Belly.
Right.
And she kind of starts calling him out on it a little bit, like with the tension of like them almost kissing, and like they kind of have this back and forth where it's this will they won't they for a long time.
We see him like constantly making eyes at her.
Constantly.
Like I feel like that's all they showed really was just like him giving her those looks, just like back to back to back.
And even to like the point of the birthday, on Belly's birthday, and everyone's giving her gifts, like he says he just forgot to get her a gift when we know that he has this like extremely special necklace for her.
Infinity necklace.
Right, because that's like their thing from when they were a kid.
Right.
But then we see this shift of scenes between her and Jeremiah starting to look a little bit more romantic. And Jeremiah is also making eyes at Belly, but in a different way. Like he's like the fun brother, the partier, the outgoing one. And so his idea of like flirting is not just like mysterious, maybe bad boy making eyes at you. Like it's just like, I'm going to be the life of the party and I'm going to come in the middle of your dance lesson and like crank up the music and start dancing and teach you how to drive and like make it fun. Like, you know, like that whole moment of her, like just anytime she's with Jeremiah, she's just having fun.
Yeah.
She truly is. It's almost like she forgets about Conrad during those moments. But as soon as Conrad enters the scene, you know.
Yeah. I've said it, like anytime one of them gives her attention, her mind shift just shifts to that brother in that moment.
Yeah.
Even if it's like one day to the next or like the same day, right? The next hour.
Same party.
It's like,
right.
Girl.
Especially in season 2.
Yeah.
But also in season 1. I mean, I think that's where like Belly is all over the place with her thoughts and emotions. But I think it's also because it's the first time that she's receiving any attention like that. And it happens to be from these two guys that she really loves and cares about.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really know how to like handle that.
Yeah.
And like doesn't really even know what she thinks.
Yeah. And we can't forget too that Conrad is also like dating someone else.
Conrad, he has this casual thing going with
Nicole,
of course.
Yeah, of course.
And also Jeremiah has like multiple things going with multiple people. He's just casually like making out with people, and they always say hooking up, but like it's always just like a make out.
Yeah,
I don't think they ever really mean
when
like
I think
having
of
sex.
Hookup, like I think of people having sex.
Same.
I don't think of just making out.
No, like, and we hooked up. I'm like, y'all didn't hook up. That was a kiss.
Yeah, I don't.
So maybe we're dating ourselves here, but
yeah, I don't know.
But nonetheless, Jeremiah is like playboy.
Totally.
And so I don't think that Belly even like thinks of him as like a real option because he's portrayed himself to be like that. Yeah. But the 4th of July scene when Belly gets like uber drunk.
Yikes, yeah.
I think there's a moment when Cam was also there and he notices that Conrad notices her or notices her watching Conrad, something like that. And everybody sees it.
Right.
Like, it's no secret
right.
to
it's
anybody
so
that she is just infatuated with him.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Yeah. Like, I think
so.
I think Belly can be a little bit more obvious about it, but it's the same for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the significant part to mention is at the end of the 4th of July when Conrad and Belly end up talking.
Mm-hmm.
And they, again, almost kiss.
Yeah.
Like, for real this time. Like, they were about to, lips were about to touch. And then Jeremiah's up at the front of the dock or the whatever you want to say, in the backyard, essentially. And he just, like, shoots this Roman candle directly at them.
Like,
which is, like,
yeah, and then he was like, concerning. I didn't even know you guys were out there. It's like, boy,
you were jealous.
You literally saw the whole
Yeah, and I'm like, also, you could have distracted them the same, but just shooting it in the air.
Right. You had to shoot it at them.
Just made me think of like that summer when some of our guy friends were like literally shooting Roman candles at each other in the street. That. Yeah, like
they were obsessed with doing
that.
Like, truly,
that's dangerous.
Yeah.
I think one of them did get hit. I feel like, but I'm sure they did.
David,
probably,
most likely.
So that was the first time I think we really see Jeremiah have real agitation.
Right.
About seeing her and Conrad together.
Yeah.
Like, sure, we've seen him be kind of flirty, but he's kind of a flirty guy. So you can't really, like, chalk it up to much.
Yeah. So that now it's like, now he sees them and he's like, oh, I don't like that.
Oh, no. He was definitely, like, mad. Yeah. Like, his face was very irritated.
Yeah, he got, like, territorial.
And then he just pretends, like, it didn't happen kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, this is the part where I'm just like, you know, after she breaks up with Cam and approaches Conrad, you know, he says, like, he thinks about her, but, like, of course he thinks about her, but I just can't, like,
yeah, because of Nicole.
Right. And then all of a sudden, like, we see this pool scene with her and Jeremiah. It just kind of feels like, wait, what?
Like, what is
Belly,
happening?
Like, sure, we can kind of see Jeremiah having these feelings.
Yeah.
But at this point, we haven't really seen Belly have, like, show any signs of having romantic feelings for her. So when this pool scene happens and they kiss, have a very, like, passionate kiss, it's like, wait, huh?
I know that was like the beginning of my confusion. I'm like, I just like, I don't even have words for it. I'm like, that makes no sense.
And it's funny because it's like her and Jeremiah do kind of make the most sense. Like we're saying, they're closest in age.
Yeah.
They've been best friends since they were kids. Like Belly has genuine fun when she's with him.
Yeah.
And he's a sweet, nice guy. I mean, like it makes sense, but we hadn't seen that until that moment.
Right.
And so, and again, I guess like in their defense, like maybe it was one of those, like, she didn't realize she could have feelings for him until, like, her whole thing was, I didn't even consider you because you've been with so many, like,
right.
I didn't think you were into me like that. So she didn't consider him an option.
Yeah, I don't know. Very confusing.
Yeah, I was like, pool scene with Jer, kiss, but you were just into Conrad like literally 2 seconds ago.
Yeah.
The next thing I have from that moment, where this is where like the real tension between the brothers starts, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that would, I think the volleyball scene or that day or whatever, you really see them start to like battle to win Belly.
Right.
And Belly's still just like a little ping pong ball. She's like, bing, 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 bing.
I feel like it doesn't even faze her one little bit either.
No.
Like, it doesn't even like cross her. I don't think it crosses her mind that like, clearly it doesn't. Like, the gravity of what she's getting herself into by doing that.
She's not thinking of like future Belly when she's making these decisions. She's thinking purely with emotion, feelings in the moment, making decisions.
Yeah, and she doesn't really care if it's like hurting the other person. Not really.
Right. I don't even know if I would say she doesn't care. I think she's just not even thinking of the consequences.
Yeah.
Which I guess you could argue that means she doesn't care, but I think she does care. She just is like, she's just going about it. Like, I don't think was ever malicious with like, first I have Jared, now I have Conrad. Like, I didn't see that. So it's like she does care about them both, and I think that's the problem. It's like, but you can't have both.
Yeah.
Like, because you care so much about them and you have such deep history with them both, you can't have both. Yeah. You gotta pick one. Yeah. But we see Conrad, obviously, like, is the much better volleyball player. And they win. They have their little moment together, and he asks her to go to the ball. She finds out that his mom had asked him to ask her, and so that kind of like gets in her head a bit.
Yeah. Which I think is lame.
It's so stupid, girl.
Like,
you want...
Who cares?
The end goal for you in your mind is to go to that ball with Conrad, and that's what was going to happen. And
right. And that's what you wanted to happen.
Right. And then you ruined it.
And then you're mad because Susanna suggested he ask you?
Yeah. And so, yeah, it just causes even more tension between the boys, the whole volleyball thing. Jer's, like, upset. But then we see Jer kind of, like, confess his feelings for her in the car. And they kiss again. And other stuff, just a little bit. I was going to say accidental boob raise, but it was not an accident.
Accidental. And it wasn't even a graze. It was just like...
That to me, I'm like...
Well, I was going to say it's like Nick Miller, but he had
literally,
his hand like on her chest.
Yeah, no, that was just...
Not her boob.
I don't know. That was so like...
Weird.
It was weird to see that because it was literally just like... Anyways,
too funny.
She's all over the place before the ball. Like, Conrad's texting her, apologizing, and like wanting to see her, and then she's having these moments with Jer, and he's thinking the whole time, like, sweet, she's really into it. Like,
yeah, and she's also like not battling, but tangling with the whole Nicole situation because,
right,
Nicole doesn't know that Belly and Conrad are even having a thing.
Right.
And Nicole is like kind of confused, I think, when she finds out that Conrad's going to take her to the ball.
Yeah, she sees that text on the phone and it's like over.
Yeah.
Like she's done with Conrad, which I don't blame her.
Right.
I also think she like was a little dramatic about it. I'm like, this is a summer fling.
Right.
You didn't have to take their clothes. Like,
I know, that was so dumb.
But whatever. Yeah, and so then the dead ball happens, and obviously Jeremiah was there as her date. She ended up asking him to go with her. And they're doing their dances and the silly dances and whatever. And then Jeremiah finds out about Susanna, and he's like wrecked outside.
Yeah,
like he's just mess. He's a mess. He's processing everything. In the meantime, Belly's left alone to do this partner, like the waltz part. And she's like looking around for Jer, and Conrad just steps up to the plate and like approaches her. And in that moment, it's just so sweet.
It is.
Like,
he's like, I think I remember this step.
Yes. and that's where, like, for me, you know, this whole series is like, it probes everyone to be, are you team Jer? Are you team Conrad? And I've always been team Conrad, even though I love Jeremiah. I love his character. I would even say if Conrad didn't exist, I don't mind him and Belly together.
Yeah.
But when you compare it to like the depth of what her and Conrad 100%. Have,
yeah,
it's just, it doesn't hold a candle at this point. And so, yeah, I think that moment of them dancing together, it was just like one of those Cinderella moments, like nobody else in the room and you're just like locked eyes with one another. And
yeah.
And then of course everything unravels with Susanna.
Yeah, the whole moment goes sour.
Yeah, that final episode. And it's just sad because basically she chooses Conrad in that moment and they like kiss on the beach and he's just telling her, you know, like, I don't just need someone, I need you, you know, I don't. And then Belly says like, I don't want you to need me, I want you to want me. And I like love that too. Like, even though they were so young, it's like that should be the expectation for us all, like as far as like a want versus need. Yeah. Sure, we're all gonna rely on and need our partners one day, but I also want you to want me. Yeah, that's why there's a song called "I Want You to Want Me." But like the moment when they're walking up from the beach and she's like telling Conrad like, oh, by the way, like I've kissed Jeremiah a few times. And he's just kind of like, oh, I didn't know he had feelings for you. Like, oh, dang, like that's fine, we can get through anything. And like,
yeah, I wrote that down. He was kind of chill about it. His response was like, great.
Yeah, because again, I mean, other than the fact that it's his brother and he could have been like annoyed, it's not like him and Belly had any type of exclusivity or any anything really. And so they were, I mean, obviously he had been with Nicole the entire summer. So yeah, I thought his response was oddly chill for as dramatic as the show had been.
Right.
But also like it was cool that he was so chill. And just felt really bad for Jeremiah though.
Yeah.
But season 2 picks right up at that moment. And I don't know how like we should go about season 2 because I feel like because of all the back and forth, maybe we should kind of categorize them and just talk about Belly and Conrad first. Because we really see that they continue having a relationship after summer and into the fall and really that whole school year. They kind of, well, okay, I take that back, people. They ended it because she didn't want to hurt Jeremiah. And so then like nobody was together.
Right.
That's where it really begins in season 2. But it doesn't really last long.
Like no one being together.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because they start having some phone calls.
Yeah. I feel like they had quite a few phone calls. I thought they were sweet.
Very sweet.
I kept having to ask Trisha, I'm like, is this a flashback or is this present? Because like I literally could not keep track of
it was
so
very
much
quick.
Of it.
Like,
yeah. But I thought like their phone conversations were really sweet and I was like, oh, like are they gonna like pick this up? Or are they gonna work this out? Like what's gonna be the deal here? But yeah,
the phone calls were very sweet. I think, they kind of started off like, well, hey, like we're friends can talk on the phone, right? And they're like, yeah. And it's like they both know they have feelings for each other. And they begin to talk like every day throughout the day. They're texting. And I just love that they like actually talked on the phone.
Yeah, I know.
But
yeah, because he's away at college or whatever. So
I have a moment that I wrote down that maybe you can jog my memory, but it was Belly crying in the car just because she's like grieving and is like her heart is aching. I think it was maybe post party, like in the current moment. And that's when she like has the flashback of Conrad showing up at her door.
Yeah.
For the first time since they had been talking on the phones, like in the flashbacks.
Yeah.
And he said something that I just thought was so sweet. And he said, I don't think I can ever get over you. Standing here in front of you, is killing me, not being able to kiss you. And then they obviously kissed. And then that just kind of starts this, okay, like they are going to date. And his justification was like, I've talked to Jer, like he's dating other people, like he's like stoked that he won homecoming king, like he's good.
Yeah, he's like just back to like normal.
Yeah, like life. I think basically like I think we have permission to start dating each other because we know that that's what we both want. And Conrad is at Brown going to school, so he's like has to commute, like they're long distance. So I think that makes it special too, especially for a high school romance or a high school relationship to be long distance. If two high schoolers can make a long distance relationship work, I'm like, that's pretty impressive. I mean, and I'm not saying it goes without issues. Like they clearly had problems, but I just thought it was kind of a mature move for them to be like, let's try this, even though you live however many hours away.
Right. I just have like the flashback to the summer house when it was like snowing.
Oh yeah, when her and Conrad
they hook up.
They actually hook up.
Yeah. Which I have a question about that.
Okay.
I just have a question because of their ages. Well, I don't need to say the question, but like
statutory situation. Yeah. I mean, obviously, technically speaking, yes.
Right. I just now thought about that.
But still.
It was. I even wrote that down that it was consensual, but I just now thought about like, wait a second.
Yeah, he had to be like 18, 19.
Yeah.
She's 16 at that point. Yeah, I think the moment that moment you're talking about, just that day of them like riding to Cousins together and like hanging out and having fun, like Conrad really comes to life when he is around her, even though like he's kind of a recluse otherwise. Like he's not life of the party. He's more like introverted intellectual guy.
Yeah.
But like the scene of them on the beach when it's snowing, of this just like chasing each other and like it's just so playful and sweet, and again this like youthful, innocent, romantic element that they had together. I just thought it was so cute.
Yeah.
And obviously we see them go inside and they're like talking, and then they end up like you said, hooking up together. And obviously it was Belly's first time being with someone like that in that way, and we were made to believe it was not Conrad's first experience.
Right.
But what I loved about that scene in particular was Conrad being like, hey, I just want you to know, like, this is not why I brought you here.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have that expectation.
Right.
And like I'm fine if this isn't where
if we don't
tonight goes.
Yeah.
And of course she like consents to it and like wants to or whatever.
Right.
Don't recommend, by the way, at that age.
No.
And outside of marriage, but you know, that's what happened.
Yeah. A 0 out of 10.
0 out of 10 do not recommend. Okay, other Conrad and Belly moments, whether it's from a flashback or I think really we just need to talk about the flashback moments between them before we get to the current day Conrad and her.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't know what on my notes is a flashback and what's not. So
let's talk about prom then. Okay. The prom night. Because I think post beach scene, like that was obviously in the winter time. So we may not know specifically, but winter.
Yeah.
And from between winter and moving into the spring is when Susanna is progressively getting worse. Yeah. And she's literally on her deathbed with oxygen, the whole 9.
Yeah.
And as that's happening, we see Conrad pulling away from Belly more and more because he's grieving the slow process of his mom's death.
Right. And he's like trying to be there.
He's
with
really
her
trying.
And it's tough, obviously, with his schooling and
Like
he can't just be there constantly, and I think that tears him up too.
The moment that he's at, I don't know if he was at Belly's house or they were all at the house in Boston or whatever, but Belly's mom, Laurel, was there. And she was like, oh, have you ordered your tux yet? He's like, oh, I forgot. Like, I have time though, right? Like, when's prom? And like, they kind of talk about it. And she's kind of getting like, wait, do you not want to go?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I want to. And she's like, and you're still down to do the hotel or whatever? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. Like, you can just tell in the way he's talking to her.
Yeah.
He's not mentally there.
Yeah. Which like, I felt so bad for him in those moments, especially because Belly was like kind of getting annoyed.
Yeah, she was definitely a little irritated.
And I'm just like, girl, it's not like, don't read into that much.
Like, in that moment in the kitchen, I thought she handled it well. Like, she was frustrated at first, and then he's like, I'm so sorry. Like, my mom just like, the doctor like started on her this new medication, which probably means this current one stopped working or whatever.
Yeah.
And she like quickly adapts and like hugs him and is like, that's fine. Like, and he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring it down. She's like, no, you don't need to apologize. Like, I want to be here for you during this time. Like, so she like, for a 16-year-old kid, she responded great in that moment.
Yeah.
But
like, she said, like, she wants him to be able to talk to her about it.
Exactly. And then it was just like, I don't know if she just like lost sight of that because like the whole prom moment, you know, he just, I don't even know. He forgot the corsage and the night just wasn't going as planned. He decides he's going to leave early and drive back to school instead of doing the hotel. And she's really hurt by that.
Yeah.
And they end up kind of having this like breakup.
Yeah.
And it ends like in like, yeah, like she's in tears. He's upset that he hurt her. And yet he just kind of doesn't know what to do. It starts pouring down raining. And he gets in his car and leaves.
Yeah.
And then it's like everyone's mad at Conrad for the way he treated Belly on that night. And the whole time I'm just like, does anybody freaking see that this kid is just grieving?
Right. Like he's about to lose his mom. Like the grieving doesn't start after she dies. Like,
no.
It's a whole thing.
Right. And it's like, he's also like grief, especially like, the thing I didn't like about, not that I didn't like it because I understand, but grief obviously is something that people handle very differently. There's no playbook on it. There's not like a right or a wrong way to grieve. It just, there's no proper length of time for grief. It's just different for every single person. And at one point, you know, Jer and Conrad get in a fight because Jer was playing caregiver for his mom, and so he didn't have the option to just like become a recluse. Like he was making sure she was taking her meds, and so I think he kind of started resenting his brother for that, which again I understood where Jeremiah was coming from, but I don't think Conrad was wrong. He's a kid. I mean, they're kids.
Yeah.
What should have happened is her freaking husband should have been there taking care of him. But
for sure,
we know Adam's a freaking loser. But yeah,
and like the emotions are so heightened. So like, of course, like you're saying, Jeremiah's gonna resent his brother,
right?
Because the emotions are so heightened, and like that's just like a snap judgment he's making. Same with what's Belly's brother's name, Steven, about him being mad at Conrad for the way he treated Belly, and like it's just everybody's.
I don't think that you get a pass to be a jerk. Like that's not what I'm saying. And I think that Conrad could have handled that season like we said. First of all, I wish Belly would have just been like, we do not have to go to prom, or you do not have to come with me. I want to go to prom with my friends and have a good time, but like I don't have the expectation of you coming with me. Like,
like if you're not up to it,
or like I know you have to travel here and like everything's crazy right now. Like, I don't want you to have to like do that,
right?
Like,
and then on top of that, you also can't resent him for if he made that decision, which he didn't.
Right.
You can't then.
So I guess what I'm saying is like I understand that Conrad willingly went, and he could have handled it differently. He could have said from the very beginning like, I would love to go to prom, but like I don't want to go to the hotel after. Or but at the same time, it's like it just looks like he's a walking zombie.
Yeah. And it's like, of course, he doesn't want to hurt Belly.
He doesn't want to.
He's gonna
That's why
do
he's
his
there.
best to get there,
right,
and do all of the things.
He's trying. That's what we just kept saying. I'm like,
but they're trying. They're too young to understand. I think not that you know how you're gonna grieve, but like,
right.
I think they're a little too young to understand like how to handle it, or like,
sure. I mean, on
not
top
the
of
proper way, but it's like he doesn't know that he can set that boundary and say like, hey, like I'm really struggling, like I want to come to prom, I don't want to like make you upset, but realistically, like I don't think I can do it.
On top of just like being so young to handle any type of relationship, like real relationship, tension or whatever. And it's just also like from Conrad's perspective, like I don't know, like I know I'm not like the typical, or we're not the typical situation, but like I barely like wanted to go to prom as is.
Yeah.
Like that's not true. We wanted to go, and it was fine and fun, but like I would not have wanted to go a year or two after I graduated back with somebody I was dating.
Heck no.
You know what I mean? So like, no way. I think part of that was Jeremiah's thing. Like he probably, even if everything was fine and dandy with his mom, I think he would have been dragging his feet anyway, because he doesn't seem like
to a high school.
He doesn't seem like the type that like lived for those kind of moments.
I don't blame him.
Me either. But I just really like had so much empathy for him in those moments, because I'm just like, I feel like you're getting the short end of the stick. Like you don't deserve to carry all that blame. And we start to see him like having these panic attacks throughout like the flashbacks and in the current day, and he doesn't really know how to handle them, and he doesn't communicate with anybody that he's having them. And so he's just silently carrying this burden of life right now. Like his circumstances are just like he's in a valley. Let's say that he's in a valley.
Yeah, definitely riding that valley.
Yeah, and so I just feel bad for him. But
even like the funeral
especially
the funeral, like I don't even know what Belly was like gonna bring him food or something upstairs, and she sees him upstairs with some random girl, Aubrey the ex, right, or something like that. I don't know, Aubrey
from college or something.
And he's like kind of laying down, has her head in his head in her lap, and Belly just like freaks out over that, not knowing, and he doesn't even say it till much later, I don't think, but he was having like a full-blown panic attack in that moment.
All he said, I think, in the moment was like, she was helping me.
Yeah.
And that triggered her, because she wanted to be the one, even though they were broken up at that moment. I think she was still just like, really?
Yeah.
But without all the information, I would be annoyed or upset too. And that's the problem with these freaking young.
Yeah.
And but not like, just young. We've seen plenty of other adult relationships handle this, where there's no communication. And when you're not willing to let someone explain the situation or explain themselves.
Yeah.
Especially when you have an established connection, love, relationship, whatever. When you're not willing to hear them out, you also don't reserve the right to be upset with them until you've heard the full thing.
And let's also, you don't get to react that way at a funeral.
No, you don't get to like have a screaming match, like a yelling match.
Sorry,
that's so embarrassing.
It truly is. It truly is.
And again, this is another moment for Belly that I just want to be like, it's not about you.
Not about you.
This day is not about you.
Yeah, not even close.
Conrad being upset, it's not about you. Belly, stop flattering yourself. Like this is not, he is not upset or annoyed or whatever with you. Like it's just,
this is like his mother's funeral, and like basically you're also your second
mom, basically. Exactly. So, which again, it's like, okay, we have to give her grace too, because A, she's 16, B, she did just lose someone, and her emotions are heightened, and the way she's grieving is differently, and so, but I was just so frustrated with her in that moment. It's Me too. And everybody was. Like, I mean, he called her out for it, for being selfish and whatever else he said to her in that moment.
Yeah.
So I feel like Conrad and Belly, like, have these really sweet moments that are so few and far between because they equally have these moments of, like, heated arguments or just, like, tensions or call it whatever you want, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of the other moments we see between Conrad and Belly in flashbacks, and I think that might be the last of the flashbacks. So when Conrad goes missing and Jeremiah and Belly go try to track him down, when Conrad first realizes that Belly's there and he's like, what is she doing here?
Yeah.
Or why did you bring her? Or something, whatever he said. I was like, oh, shoot. Like,
he mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also he's, like, mad at himself.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm so sorry for that day. I'm just like, you don't need to be the one apologizing.
Yeah. Definitely not.
And she did own up to it, and, like, Belly eventually becomes self-aware. But it's the lack of in the moment decision making that is her biggest problem.
Yeah.
It's like, girl.
Or her in the moment decision making the wrong decisions.
Yeah, most of the decisions she makes in the moment are wrong.
Yeah.
She's reacting on her feelings or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I feel like at this point now it's like we just see so much back and forth and like the push and pull between the brothers and her.
Yeah. Yeah, and the brothers among themselves. Like, they are at odds.
Yeah.
And at one moment, I forget if it was Jer. I think it was Jer who was just like, Belly, like, Conrad and I are, like, at each other's throats for, like, multiple reasons. Like, it's not just about you.
Right.
And again, it's just like Belly.
Yeah. Hello, girl.
Isabella Conklin. This is not. They're
not that cool.
Yeah, like, they have, like, you're a slice of the pie, but, like.
Right.
You ain't the whole pie. You ain't the whole pie, sister. Not in this regard.
No.
Ugh.
I do have I don't know where you're at, but one of the things I have written down was about the truth or dare situation. I don't know, was that the party or
was that the
like everybody had come back now? Not everybody, but
no, this was, I think, the night when they were spending the night at the country club outside.
Yeah. So Steven and Taylor were there.
Yeah.
Cam Cameron is there because he's working this summer, and the cousin Sky was there. She's there, but they're like playing truth or dare, and Sky dares Belly to kiss Jeremiah, and everybody else is kind of like,
Sky has no idea about Belly, like the love triangle whatsoever. Right.
So everybody else
is kind of an innocent dare. It wasn't like to ruffle feathers or anything.
Yeah, but everybody else is kind of like
dun dun dun
awkward. And then he basically denies her the kiss.
Yeah.
And
Jer has been like not vibing with Belly the entire time. He's like still upset about how she led him on the previous summer.
Right. Badly.
Totally get that.
She really did badly. So she's kind of like confused by that and questioning it.
I did not like that when that comment she made to him in that moment. Like, what? Do I have bad breath or something? Like, what's up with you not wanting to kiss me? I'm like, don't put him in that position.
Right.
Don't.
Yeah. But was this when he said that
I'm afraid if I.
Yeah. He couldn't, like, he doesn't think he could stop if he did.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, woof.
I thought that moment was sweet from his perspective.
Cute, but at this point, like, I'm annoyed with
100%
them, with her, with them. I'm just like, if you don't decide
right
which one you want to pursue without in the next 12 hours going back to the other brother. Like,
yeah,
get it together.
She keeps trying to tell herself that like it's over with Conrad. It's after the way he treated her. She's done. It's like,
you're lying.
No, you're not, honey. And but that's where I feel like I have such like a soft spot for Jeremiah, because like I think he's been feeling like the second choice, the leftover, the backup plan.
Yeah.
In the love
I can
triangle.
have sympathy for him for sure. She's the villain.
100%.
She's the villain.
Belly is the villain. She is her own worst enemy.
Yeah.
But in that moment when Jer was saying that, it's like, I just, my heart just like broke for him in a way of like, from a point of like rejection, where like Conrad's, I'm like, as a person, as a human, I'm like, ugh, Conrad, I just want to give you a hug.
Yeah.
But for Jeremiah, it's like he had real feelings for Belly. And because he's a player, like, he's not just quick to have these real feelings for just anybody. So
yeah,
when that doesn't pan out and Belly wants to throw it in his face, like, come on, like, why can't you just kiss me? Like, that's a big deal. And you know how he feels about you. And why would you say that to him? Like,
exactly.
Your mom should have smacked you in that moment too. But yeah. The other thing I have written down in a flashback in regards to Jeremiah's feelings for Belly, when he finds out about how prom went and that Conrad forgot the flower and like kind of screwed everything up and they were over, you know, he's kind of talking to his mom about it. And I literally wrote Sav because I was referring to her as Susan.
Wow.
I can't believe that. But she says to Jeremiah, like, you never let anyone see you hurting. And I think that's where we kind of see more of like who Jeremiah is in season 2, because season 1, it's just life of the party, fun guy, like, but we really see that that's like his facade. It's like his armor that he can put on, like, smile, act like everything's fine, be the strong one, be the one, like, I think for him and Conrad, he's like, you think it was easy? You think I loved being there with mom watching her die? Like, no, it wasn't easy, but like somebody had to do it. And so I stepped up and did it.
Right.
And so him kind of putting this front on that, like, he was like fine with the whole Conrad and Belly thing. Like, I think he just kind of was like, enough's enough. Like, I can't like pretend. I can't sit by and like pretend like, Conrad, you like walked away from her, you gave up on her. Like, I don't care how hard life was. Like, you don't just throw her aside. Like, that was wrong. I would have never done that. Like, she deserved better, kind of a thing.
Right.
But I think the next thing I have for her and Jer was the pool scene again, which is like another almost kiss moment. And they were like touching hands like on the pool floaties.
Yeah.
Because they had kind of, since like the country club, like they kind of have started like connecting again and like kind of being flirty with one another. And Belly is like acting like, ugh, I screwed this up with Jer, and like, I don't think I'm going to ever have another chance with him.
Right.
Like, that's like her perspective, even though simultaneously she's like having these like emotional moments with Conrad, but telling herself she's done with Conrad this time for good. And she's just trying to figure out how to win Jeremiah back. I'm just like, girl, the mental gymnastics you're doing in your mind. I'm like,
it's so crazy.
I almost wish Jeremiah would have just removed himself from the equation altogether.
100%.
Because clearly Belly can't make that decision.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I get it, because like he has real feelings for her and all that.
I don't know. It's a tough situation for him.
It is.
I do feel bad for him in that way, for sure. Because like, she's just so all over the freaking place.
Yeah, the back and forth is insane.
And it's like you're I don't know how many times I have to say it or can say it, should say it, whatever, but I'm just like, you're constantly like making eyes at one and then in the next scene with the other.
And Jer is very attuned to that.
Right.
Like, Belly, you ain't slick. You're saying one thing, but we're all watching something else happening. And Jeremiah gets to the point where he's like, I'm not going to do that. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to hear you tell me one thing and watch another and just sweep it under the rug and pretend like you do actually like me when I don't know if you actually do or not. Like, do you just, like, want the attention? And
yeah, but even if she's like, well, I do really like you. And then
I know. Well, we see.
And then she just flips back to the other.
Well, yeah, I mean, we see, like, the shopping moment for the party when the three of them are in the store. And then he gives her that tiara or something, and he says, I forget what he says to her, like, Conrad and her have some little moment. And then at the party, Belly's like skating, and she like falls or trips or something, and Jeremiah catches her and like whispers in her ear so like seductively and was like, you don't need to hurt yourself to get my attention. I'm like,
that was so dumb.
First of all, that moment was so cringy.
Yeah.
They made like, Jeremiah have some cringy moments.
Why did they make him say that?
No, right?
That was completely out of character for him to say that. Right?
They were trying to make him be like Mr. Sexy in season 2, which, I mean, he's a good-looking guy. It's hard because, like, they're so much younger than us. Mm-hmm. But, like, he's a good-looking guy. Like, I've said this the whole time. I'm like, he's a beautiful person. He's just got that. He's a pretty person.
Yeah,
So I don't know if they were trying to make him be a little bit more like aggressive this season in his like pursuit for her.
I don't know. That line was just weird.
It was cringy. Like,
it was
you don't have
weird.
to hurt yourself to get his attention. It's like,
just say something. They could have said something else. I don't know. Pick a different line.
Yeah, it was very weird. But Conrad and Jeremiah start arguing at this party over Belly and life.
Yeah.
And whatever. And
she's, of course, wasted.
She's drunk out of her mind. And her and Conrad argue out on the beach because she's, like, in the water. And he's like, I ain't dragging your dead body out of this body of water. You come on. And he has to throw her over his shoulder.
I know.
And again, like, he's always the one rescuing her, though. Yeah. I will say that.
And she was like, she kept saying, or he kept saying, like, get out of the water, get out of the water. And I was like, no, you need to go get her. Because
and what did he do?
Yeah, and he did. Like, right then. But I'm just like, bro, she
ain't coming in without you. Yeah. But Conrad, I think, gets worried about Belly. Mm-hmm. That's how different or deep his affection for her goes.
Yeah.
To me, you just see, like, they're so endgame versus Jeremiah and her are, like, flirty, fun, genuinely, like, have, again, I think there's real feelings there for both of them, but Conrad is just like, I don't know. It's just,
I know. Well, and she was like just mad at Conrad for not telling her about whatever conversation he had with Jeremy.
Okay, Taylor.
Jeremiah. Because what he like. They had a separate conversation. Him and Jeremiah had a separate conversation about Belly, maybe in a flashback or something. Like
Jeremiah or Conrad came up to Jeremiah.
Yeah, and was like,
I really love her.
Yeah, like not asking permission, but sort of to like, I don't know.
Yeah, before he showed up that day, when he first referenced the call on when he showed up on Halloween and was like, I talked to Jeremiah, like he's cool, kind of thing. Yeah. Or like he's this, that. Mm-hmm. He didn't specifically say like we talked, and I said like it's literally killing me that I can't tell her I love her because it's that like taking over my body that I need to be with her, like. And he's like, well, I'm not gonna be the one to stand in the way, so like go for it.
Right.
Which, again, that's him just, like, putting the wall up, Jeremiah, and being like, fine, go, instead of, like, fighting for her in that moment.
And so she's mad that Conrad didn't tell her, like, why didn't you tell me?
Like, I would have fought for you had I known that you were fighting for me, basically. Right. And he's like, I thought you knew. I thought you knew. And
it's like, as if it makes a freaking difference to you, Belly. It don't make no difference to her.
I mean, they end up having a conversation, her and Conrad, and like, they both apologize for whatever they need to and kind of agree to be just friends, even though we know that that's not gonna happen. And then we see the whole, like, moment of, like, the study sesh, trying to get Conrad back to Brown in time for his final. We see
that I have something written down about the car ride.
Yeah.
Because why were they wet?
They jumped in the pool.
Oh yeah. Oh, they did the belly flop, the last belly flop.
Yeah.
So anyway, they get in the car and she, like, visibly shivers, and Jeremiah's like, oh, are you cold? And she's like, no, I like the chill. Like, okay, weirdo. But then Conrad, like, immediately hands her his sweater, and she puts it right on, and Jeremiah's like,
in that moment, he's like, this is still a thing,
obviously.
Yeah, the
like, she's just like, not even, she doesn't even try to hide it. That's a thing.
Yeah. But then it's like, at the same time, when Conrad's taking his final and her and Jerry Jeremiah, like, go to flinch or Finch. Is that a bird?
A finch is a bird.
Okay, I thought. Okay, so
a flinch is not a bird.
When they're at Finch, like, they're being so, like, flirty and they're having fun and they're like,
they get their own little montage.
They have their montage moment, right?
Yeah,
and it's sweet and cute. If Conrad didn't exist, you would be like, they're so cute together.
Totally.
And again, Belly has this thing in her mind, like, I'm like, are you ever gonna give me a second chance? Like, she's really, like, for Jeremiah, like, she wants to be with Jeremiah, and she's trying to sell to herself the fact that she doesn't have feelings for Conrad because she thinks Conrad doesn't have feelings for her. That's the only reason why she says she's done with him, because she thinks he's done with her.
Yeah, whatever.
And yeah, but I will say, and all the girlies went feral for the kiss on the hood of the car, where he, like, puts his hand on her neck and face.
I was literally like, what is that neck grab?
I mean, I'm all about, like, the face grab, like, of course,
but not this.
It was a literal choke.
Yeah. You can save choking. That for your house. If that's what you're into,
But they did have a very steamy kiss, very passionate kiss. And poor Conrad comes around the corner and sees them.
Yeah.
And
she's in his sweater, I might add.
And the fact that
that was my fault.
Yes. The fact that Jeremiah asks Belly to go after him, I'm just like, y'all are asking for trouble.
Right,
like, let the man process on his own. Okay, if this is a choice y'all are making, own it.
Yeah.
Own it. Let him deal with it. He said his... So then they argue, and, you know, he says he doesn't want her anymore, even though that's a lie too. Conrad. And, you know, the boys eventually talk, and...
Yeah, he, like, Jeremiah still wants Conrad to, like, actually confess what he said.
Yeah.
To Belly, like, that he loves her.
Right.
Just so that, like, he can know that after he tells her that, did she really choose me?
Right.
Like, I want you to still tell her so that if she still chooses me after that, then I'll know for sure.
Right. Or at least I'll know that, like, she's aware of your feelings and still chose me, or chose really not or she didn't choose you.
Right.
You know, whatever happens with them. And so that kind of happens, but oh gosh, it's just heart-wrenching. Yeah. I just think, again, it's sweet, and you kind of like, you want the win for Jeremiah. Belly is just there, right? She's just beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. And again, you hate to love her. You love to hate her.
I just love to hate her.
But I really was like, I want Jeremiah to be happy and like get what he wants. But then you're like heartbroken for Conrad because he's saying this and yet his insides are ripping apart. Mm-hmm. He goes around the corner after he says like he's leaving, catching the bus to go back to Brown or wherever, and he just like has this moment around the building of the hotel room, and he's just like wrecked.
Yeah.
Because he freaking loves her.
It's rather unfortunate, honestly.
Like, love triangles are bad enough, but when you make them go between family members, like, that is... Yeah.
And it's like
tough.
It's not even just that they're brothers. It's also the fact that they've been, their families 100%. Have been intertwined for...
Like, Steven.
Since they were tiny little kids.
Steven was, like, pissed at Billy. He's like, you messed this up.
Right. And
like,
she did.
She did. Like...
She did.
So frustrating. So, I mean, her and Jeremiah, like, basically end up saying they're gonna be together, and, you know, he goes back to, takes her to volleyball camp, and they're, like, smoochy. We see that Taylor and Steven are kind of having a thing, although they ain't lasting.
No way, Jose.
Okay? You know how you guys know how we do by this point, like, who's lasting and living forever, happily ever after?
Nobody in this series.
I think Conrad and Belly will eventually find their way back to each other.
I guess.
I
feel bad for Conrad if that's the case.
Well, hopefully she'll mature. I think half of Belly's issue is that she's so immature. Yeah. And, like, not... Her brain is just definitely not fully...
She needs about 10 years.
She does. Like, give her till she's 25. She'll... I think hopefully be able to, like, I don't know. There's so many things in the mix. I think that they would have been, like, had Conrad not have to go through a horribly heavy grieving process, like, they probably would have just been, like, riding off into the sunset. Sunset. But because he was grieving and didn't know how to communicate his feelings, and she's immature and also doesn't know how to handle someone who's grieving immensely, it just got messy.
Yeah, super messy.
Anyways, I love the series. I love the characters. I can't wait for season 3 to come out soon, and we will definitely be updating.
A recap.
Yeah, like, where are they at? Like, how is it going to end? I mean, I know how the book ends, but we know that could be different from the series. So,
very true.
Interested to see what they do with that. And, let us know your guys' thoughts. Are you Team Conrad, Team Jeremiah? If so, why? Also, do you agree with the take that Belly is the villain here? Because she is. She kind of is, guys. She is. So
let's just be honest.
Yeah, let's be honest. She is.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go eat some barbecued potato chips.
Chef's kiss.
But until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.